relatively cheap, and 0.83 of a second slower than Valentino Rossi on a factory Ducati. Compare the budgets. Here is Nicky Hayden, fastest Ducati, middle of the second row, 5th position for him. Let's compare and contrast where the works Ducatis were last year on the grid, shall we? Valentino Rossi in 9th, Nicky Hayden in 13th. The quickest Ducati was Hector Barbara, but he faded in the Grand Prix. However, those works Ducatis were 9th, and the quickest time was a 55.6. Same time as he's done this year, in fact. Jorge Lorenzo takes the pole position. Number 1 for the 2012 season. Jorge Lorenzo is kicking it off as he means to go on. He's beaten Stoner, the reigning world champion. Cal Crutchlow on the front row, brilliantly, the Brit in 3rd. Spies, Hayden, Dovi, Pedrosa, Barbara, Bradle. There, rows 2 and 3. Abraham, then Bautista, and Valentino Rossi. Edwards heads the CRTs ahead of De Punier, Espargaro, Johnny Hernandez, Michele Pirro, Mattia Placini in 18th spot. The last 3 is Petrucci from Silva, from James Ellison. It's the Yamaha that has taken the spoils here this evening under the floodlights here in Qatar, and the Yamaha has beaten the reigning world champion by nearly a quarter of a second. A session, Julian. That felt like an hour and a half for all the right reasons. And of course, before we started, you got, oh yes, Casey Stoner's going to be on pole by a distance. Yamaha's be following. Ducatis won't be anywhere. And look what happens. We have a Yamaha on pole, convincingly. Yamaha's all over the front of the field. Nicky Hayden, convincingly, the quickest Ducati out there over the weekend so far. Neil Spalding, you disappeared for the last 20 minutes or so. It was pretty amazing up here to commentate on those last 20 minutes or so. But the bottom line is, Yamaha have beaten Honda. The effort they've put in, not really developing the 800 last year, has worked for 1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. They spent their time last year getting this bike right. If you actually look at it, and you look at it very closely, it doesn't look that different. But clearly what they've done is absolutely spot on.
This, you might not have seen whilst you're down in pit lane, this is Ben Speed having a tip-off. Look, the front just went away. He held on with his left hand on the throttle, and eventually he let go. Thank goodness he was up on his feet and okay.
Maybe his hand was caught.
Maybe he just avoided some damage there. Either way, it looks from the way he walked away and the way he was talking to the marshal as if Ben has got away with that second crash of his weekend. Laughing at one of Mr. Crutchlow's jokes, I should think, there.
I mean, Cal looked absolutely superb. And he sat in the garage, he knew he got a good time, and he just waited and was ready to go if somebody else had gone any faster than him. Obviously didn't have to, done the right job.
Well, the blokes who are going to be occupying those chairs are still talking down in pit lane. Good job, Dolphy. Under the radar as usual. First qualifying on a satellite Yamaha in 6th. Beaten by his teammate for sure, by the 2 factory Yamahas, apart from them, by Nicky Hayden and Casey Stoner.
Hayden's performance is absolutely super. Isn't it? You know, you've got Rossi down in top, and believe me, looking in that garage, they were trying. There were wheels flying all over the place, different setups and everything else. That was not a we're sandbagging run. That didn't work.
They didn't. The softs just wouldn't go there. And I was saying before you came back up here that that suit of BMW and Forward Racing Team to be 0.83 slower, not a second, 0.83 slower than the slowest prototype, which happens to be Valentino Rossi Ducati.
Yeah, I mean, they have worked on that bike. Both chassis are new this year, but big changes to here.
Okay, let's have a look at the splits throughout this qualifying session. Lorenzo quickest by 800ths in the first one, again in the second one by nearly 500ths. He loses by 900ths in the third split, but his name is there on the last one to be quicker by a tenth again. Crutchlow in the frame in three sectors. That last sector includes most of the straight. Stoner is a tenth and a half